Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Shark, bad news. Your trips to the zoo all across the country, but especially in DC, have got to get canceled because pandas are going bye-bye. I hate to break it to you, but China has basically recalled their pandas in some sort of an attempt to get back at us. They're pulling them out of DC and other various cities and zoos across the country. So tell us your thoughts on the loss of our pandas.
Yeah, they've recalled them because the airbags were faulty and their tires were no, I'm just kidding. So I think it's very sad. So the pandas, the whole panda era, not Panda Express, but the panda era goes back to Dick Nixon, his, as you said earlier, his only good legacy that people remember him for, I guess, these days. But the pandas were basically in a few zoos in the country. You had DC, which is losing their pandas at the end of 2023. Memphis had pandas, giant pandas. San Diego lost their pandas last year. Memphis lost them earlier in 2023. So the only giant pandas that will be left are in Atlanta. Now, the whole interesting thing is that when you figure what's going on in the world between relations between China and the US, that has not helped things at all. Now, they have also, just to kind of clarify, if you do any research on this, you'll find that they have also recalled, which sounds like a real weird phrase to use, but I guess it makes sense. They've also recalled pandas from a few other countries as well. So, China says their whole thing is to protect the vulnerable species, and they did an outreach. But basically what happens is zoos sign leases. And a friend of mine is the chief marketing officer at the Memphis Zoo. And so they went through having to return the last giant panda. But what was a big deal for a 50-year program with the National Zoo in DC is it was still the biggest draw. Pandas are a huge draw for zoos. And when you have these zoos like Memphis, San Diego, Atlanta, and DC, it pulls in a lot of people into the Memphis Zoo, for example, that wouldn't necessarily travel there to go see giant pandas as part of their trips once they go, eat barbecue and go to Graceland. Same thing with San Diego when they're, it's a DC has a lot of political fun things to do with museums, but sometimes you want to just go to the zoo and see something cool like pandas. And it's a shame that the relations have gotten so bad that a lot of these leases are being recalled. So I don't know when the Atlanta lease on the pandas runs out, but unless things dramatically change for the better in relations between the US and China, I think it's, Atlanta may be the last giant panda standing.
Yes. So as a send-off to the pandas, even though it's petty that China's doing this, as a send-off, I have found a list of interesting facts about pandas, and I'm giving you my top 3 most interesting facts about pandas. Number 1, they eat for 12 hours a day, reminds me of myself, and they eat up to 27 pounds of bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
Not so tasty, although, in a pinch, I've been known to munch on a bamboo every now and then. They don't hibernate, not so much similar to me. I don't know if that's like your habits, but we are getting to winter time, so we'll find out. And then finally, their colors surprisingly are actually helpful for them to camouflage them in their environment. So as a send-off to our beloved pandas, keep on eating that bamboo.
Well, another thing too, they can weigh a lot. They have pseudo thumbs, which a lot of people didn't know.
Opposable thumbs.
They actually communicate via their scent, like a lot of animals. They don't hibernate, which is very interesting. So,
echo that.
And they have their own restaurant chain with a Panda Express. So
it's where I'm going for the next 12 hours.
So it's a zoo up in here. That's all I'll say.
thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.